Hello, everybody. Scott Golden with the Golden Opportunities Coaching YouTube channel. Welcome to those of you who are new. Welcome back to those of you seasoned veterans of what we do around here. What we do around here is bring about conversations of a psychological, mental health, emotional health paradigm. We do that as often as we can, usually several times per week. We try to be here, although my schedule doesn't always allow for that. This is a continuation of our narcissistic parenting kind of, series. We've done two of these, although we've done more over the last several years, but two most recently. What are some signs you had narcissistic parents? Also, if you are dealing with someone with narcissism in your life, I do run narcissism support services and also coaching for people that are coming out of those type of situations. So if you're interested in that, please continue to catch up in that way. A couple of things. One, connect on a deeper level at PO Perception on Twitter or in the About Me section of this YouTube page. Either one can get you where you need to be. And secondly, we continue to kind of make things moving forward that way. So what are some things you can look at that in that direction? The first is control. So a narcissistic parent always wants control of the narrative, control of how they're seen, control of how the child is seen, control of the impact that they believe they've had on their child's life and the way in which other people see their sacrifices. It's important that they basically get as much praise as possible, therefore they're going to spin it as though raising this particular child or group of children has been the most difficult thing they've ever done, but they managed to do it anyway. They want sympathy, and without the sympathy, they have very little interest in actually formulating lasting relationships. The next thing there is level of guilt. So a person who is constantly feeling guilty or who is a person who is super connected to the idea of feeling guilty is going to conform. That means the narcissistic parent is going to try to find ways to get the minor child or even adult child in some cases to feel guilty about the things that the child did not do for the parent, and that ultimately leads to a good bit of challenges because the young person may feel like they can never be good enough for the parent. The stress of trying to be good enough causes further hardship and or wounding for the young person, and ultimately that leads to a number of challenges going forward there. Doesn't necessarily mean that things are going in 100% a good direction or bad direction. It just means that there are challenges that will come certainly with the affirmation of kind of the ways at which things sort of, go forward would be the best way to put it. The next thing there is a continuation of mindset, and that is the idea of there are no boundaries between the credit that the parent will take or expect and what the child feels like they can put out or receive back from the parent. This is problematic for a number of reasons, not limited to the fact that the parent is often going to try to guilt the child into feeling at least partially like it's their responsibility to make the parent feel better about daily living, daily life, and everything associated with that in a meaningful direction. That, however, obviously is not the case. But if a parent believes that, then obviously the child is going to be made to feel like their level of love that they receive is based on their performance, and that level of performance is something that the child often has difficulty attaining because many times the parent will try to make a moving target on a continual basis as it relates to the standards placed before the child, so that becomes problematic for a whole nother slew of reasons. The next thing there is the nature of the parent to be forcing forward relationships wherein they take more credit than they deserve, so taking credit for the child's accomplishment without ever giving proper credit to the child is also a common theme in that scenario. And then finally, relationships of codependency, where the child constantly needs approval, but the parent is always asking for some degree of continued emotional support and all of that, and ultimately it becomes super problematic. So hopefully this is helpful and healthy, and we continue to connect in that way.